All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we're going to get into now talking about the rookie quarterback performances. How did they all do? It wasn't great. One of them did win. Their team did win, but it was kind of in spite of them. It wasn't great for the three of them. Now, they did make their fair share of plays, but, yeah, not great. And, it's going to happen. Not everybody's going to be RG3 and go on the road against the Saints in the Superdome and just ball out. That's not always going to happen. So speaking of RG3, we'll talk about the Commanders quarterback actually first. So, Jayden Daniels had 2 rushing touchdowns in his game, 88 yards on the ground, but he only went 17 of 24 for 184 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. The leading receiver in this game, the leading receivers in this game were their running backs. Austin Eckler had 4 receptions for 52 yards. Brian Robinson Jr. had 3 receptions for 49 yards. Zach Ertz had 3 for 28. Luke McCaffrey, 3 for 18. Terry McLaurin, 2 for 17. But, and actually, Jayden Daniels, looking at this right now, he had 3 fumbles in this game. Now, he didn't lose any of them, but, yeah, not great. Not great. Also, it didn't help that the Commanders' defense just could not stop the Buccaneers yesterday. Now, at one point, it was 13-7. So you thought, okay, this is a game now. But the Bucs pretty much dominated this game from start to finish. Baker Mayfield played really well. But, it is just one game. I'll be honest, I didn't watch a ton of highlights from all the games yesterday just because, I was coming home from the Giant game. And notice how I haven't really talked about that experience. Well, we'll get to it. If it's not today, we'll get to it. But look, you don't want to hit. First of all, you don't want to hit the panic button on any of these guys. It's their first start. You gotta expect some struggles. And the big thing, and for the Commanders especially, one of those teams, is to see improvement. And, there's definitely things to like. That, one thing is the mobility. That's something that makes him extremely dangerous. But you want to see more than 184 passing yards. But, they could be trying to ease him into it. I want to see Terry McLaurin more involved. 2 receptions for 17 yards. You want to see him more involved. And we'll see what happens. But, yeah, not great, but I'm gonna say not bad either for Jayden Daniels, but definitely a lot more to be desired. Bo Nix was not great. 26 of 42, 138 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Did have a rushing touchdown, and that was, a nice play there. He ended up being their leading rusher yesterday. This was a weird game with the Seahawks. The Seahawks won 26-20, but it's just a weird game. The Broncos got 2 safeties in this game, and I jokingly said, oh, that's payback for Super Bowl 48. Yeah, it's just a weird game. Their leading receiver was Josh Reynolds, 5 receptions for 45 yards. But, yeah, the 2 interceptions were bad. He threw the ball over 40 times. Look, the Broncos, I really don't think they're going to be great this year. And it doesn't get any easier. Next week is their home opener against the Steelers, but you got to deal with TJ Watt, and he had a game yesterday against the Falcons. He took over that game. So have to deal, now they're going to have to deal with that pass rush. That's not going to be fun. Then you got to go up against the Buccaneers, who have a good pass rush. And then you got to deal with the Jets, who also have a good pass rush. And the Buccaneers and the Jets are away games. So it doesn't get any easier for Bo Nix and the Broncos. So, yeah, and you know, you're playing on the road against Seattle. Seattle is not an easy place to play in. And I know it's different now because, you know, there's no more Legion of Boom. And Russell Wilson, well, prime Russell Wilson is no longer there. But, you know, it's a tough place to play. It was a tough spot. But, yeah, Bo Nix was not good as well. And Caleb Williams, the last rookie quarterback here, he was not great either. Now, people are talking about the offensive line for the Bears, and I know there was one pass that he missed to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen was wide open. Caleb missed him on that. He fumbled in this game but didn't lose it. Didn't throw a pick. But yeah, Caleb Williams only went 14 of 29 for 93 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Ran the ball for 15 yards in this game. And the Bears at one point, they were losing 17-0. And I took the Titans in the spread pool, and I was like, wow, this looks great. But then the Bears scored 24 unanswered points. They had a blocked punt return for a touchdown, and they also had a pick six, which was a horrible play by Will Levis. He's going to the ground, and as he's doing that, he just kind of flicks the ball away. I don't know what he was trying to do there. Try to throw it away, whatever. Regardless, ended up being a pick six, and the Bears ended up winning the game. So, despite Caleb Williams not playing well, the Bears still won. And you'll take that. You'll take the ugly wins. Because you know what? Like, if you're struggling, as long as you're winning games, you could work through it. Now, it doesn't get any easier because next week, the Bears take on the Texans on Sunday Night Football. And the way the Texans played, the Bears are going to have a better offensive showing than what they had in this game. And one of the things going into this game that was talked about was the physicality of the Titans defense. And that showed out because the Bears offense really just couldn't get anything going. And let's see, how many sacks did the Titans defense finish with? I mean, they only had 2 sacks in the game. But that Bears defense is good. TJ Edwards had a fumble recovery in this game. The pick six was by Tyreek Stevenson. Also, Jalen Johnson had a pick as well. Yeah, Will Levis did not look good in this game. I mean, one highlight play was the touchdown pass to Okonkwo, their tight end. Tony Pollard looked good for them, but yeah, Will Levis did not look good. Again, just a lot of sloppy play yesterday, really across the board. So, and the NFL wants to extend the season to 18 games. Well, you're going to see even more sloppy quarterback play because it was bad. It was bad in a lot of games. But yeah, there was no RG3-like debut for any of these quarterbacks. You know, one of the things that we can't be prisoners of the moment. And I know sometimes I am. And listen, I'm like that with my team right now with the Giants, with how yesterday went. But you don't want to overreact. You know, we got to see more of a body of work from these 3 guys. And then, you know, once we get more into the season and especially at the end of the season, then we will evaluate, you know, how these guys looked. But don't want to go too crazy. You know, they had their share of bad decisions. But you know what? For Caleb Williams, at least his team won the game. His team picked him up. So now he'll be going up against the Texans next week, so he's going to have to play a much better game, especially keeping up with that offense and how they looked. You know, he's going to want to keep up. I mean, he's going to want to play better. And you know what? I think he will. For Jayden Daniels, I mean, the Commanders are going up against the Giants. So, that's a game I think he could put up good numbers there. And then for Bo Nix, you're at home, but you're taking on another good pass rush. So it doesn't get any easier for Bo Nix and the Broncos. But let me know what you guys think. What were some of your takeaways from their debuts? I mean, I'm going to go back and watch the highlights all day long and maybe watch some game film and some film breakdowns of how these guys did. But just on the surface, it wasn't great. But one of them got a win. So at least for Caleb Williams, him and the Bears could work through it. But they got a very tough game next week, which I'm looking forward to against the Texans. So, that's pretty much it when it comes to the rookie quarterbacks. Like I said, let me know what you guys think about their performances from yesterday. So we are going to take our final break of the show. And then when we come back, we will preview tonight's game between the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Jets, as Aaron Rodgers will be making his long-awaited return to the field once again, playing on Monday Night Football against a very good pass rush. And we'll break it all down when we come back. And it's, look, the main thing for me, let's just hope that, he gets through the whole game. He will, but, against this pass rush, it's... I'm going to be turning away every time he drops back, because I'm just going to be afraid to watch him get hit. But yeah, we'll get into all that when we come back. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.